and gentlemen, my name is Shaked Bar-Tal. Time for my weekly show with my co-host Alex Bryant, talking NFL, Carolina Panthers, NFL in general. It's the first week of training camp, and we are going to have this show every Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, unless something happens that we cannot have the show. But this is the show where we're covering the Carolina Panthers, the NFL, free agency, gaming, NFL games, training camp, practice, latest news. We share our opinions. Of course, everyone is welcome and invited to give your NFL take, your opinion, who you think is the best team, the worst team, and what you think a team should make a move or not. As we are getting closer to the start of the NFL season, we had a couple of weeks where we didn't do a show because honestly, it literally was the dead period in the NFL. But right now, we are back hosting the show tonight. My name is Shaked Bar-Tal, Sports Guy Show. You also know me on YouTube as the coach of the Delaware Blue Ains, potentially a coach of other teams to be determined, which in the upcoming video you'll see who I'm coaching next. If you like video games, definitely subscribe to my channel, turn on the bell notification. If you like NFL, sport, also subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell notification. Because basically, my channel, you have NFL, you have video gaming, you have some cooking videos, you have basically everything you need.
What's up, man?
Good seeing you. Hope you're
You too,
doing well.
man.
So
Yeah, you
please,
too. It's been a while.
thanks. Please share the stream if you don't mind with your fans. Not only fans, but your fans. While we're waiting for Alex to share the stream, this fans, thank you. Yeah, I know
Yep.
it's been a while, but honestly, it was a dead period in the NFL. The last couple of weeks, just a dead period, and I'm on my channel. I'm coaches of plenty of teams. Right now, I'm coaching Dallas, which is
Yeah, yeah.
which from coach's perspective, I'm excited for this coming season because I think NFL wise could be a great season. Could be a great season for
Oh,
some.
yeah.
What's up, Bill? Long time not seeing you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. So, so, so long. So I was saying, it, training camp just started today. I mean, first practice for the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
A lot of other teams, their training camp practice started a couple of days ago and all of that. And I'm disappointed and burn out that we don't have training camp in Charlotte. Now, full disclosure, you're in New York City, I'm in Charlotte, but at the same time, we don't have practice, we don't have training camp practice open to the fans except for FanFest, which I saw ticket and I brought it, and this year they're going to probably sell out FanFest. I really believe so. But here's the deal: they don't have practice because of construction, which I'm kind of disappointed. They didn't do back to camp, also at Bank of America Stadium. But also, here's what I'm disappointed: they are not streaming training camp practice, which I understand from competitive advantage. You don't want to do that. But at the same time, I honestly feel like with not having the ability to watch training camp practice, in a way, it kind of knock out the excitement for this team. I mean, usually, I will make my final point, and of course, let you get your points. But usually in the past, when training camp was around, I would get hyped up and excited and looking for the videos, looking to see, looking to go to. to practice and all of that. And this year, they went to camp. Not a big deal. I don't care because it literally knock out the excitement.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only thing I can think of is that they think it could be a shit show. I mean, it's in it. It's usually people transition like quickly, right? I mean, not quickly, but they transition like you keep some vets on, you keep some young guys on. All of a sudden, they said, "Hey, JC, you're the new leader of the cornerback room. Hey, Derek Brown, you're the leader of the defensive line. Hey, Mora, you're going to come in and be the leader of the safety group. Hey, Hunt, you've been here your second year, but you're the leader here. Bryce, you're the leader." So there's all these new guys that we know are the captains, but there's not. I mean, outside of Adam Thielen, there ain't a lot of guys on this team that's over 27 years old. So you're talking about. You mean you already got somebody like Princely that hit the quarterback? Like what? Like what are you doing? Like so it's I don't know, man. I would have hoped that they would get some sort of veteran presence there, but it's a lot. It's going to be a lot of trial and error during this camp. I think that overall they're going to be great. Like I think I don't say great. 'Cause I don't use that term very often, but I think they're going to be really really good this season. I do think there's going to be some growing pains though because there's a lot of new alphas that have never been like the alpha of the room before. So and there's a lot of new people on that defense. There's gonna be some growing pains.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure if the sound is off or not a bit. You'll just haven't
Can
seen.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
You haven't seen the show in a while, so that's probably why it sound a bit off. But it's all good. Smash the like button, guys, if you haven't done so, and turn on the bell notification and all of that. Now, so Dave Canales spoke today. Coach Canales spoke today, and he said something that really, really excited me. And he last year he didn't say that. He said teams this year are going to be afraid of playing against us. That is a bold statement, but it's also a statement you want to hear from a coach who believe we are on the right path. Last year we did not hear that. Last year we all, oh, we need to win the day, and that is all. So for a bold statement like that, I'm hyped up. I really am, even though I cannot watch practice.
Yeah, I mean, I told you, like I told you that last time we were on that I think the team's really good. Like I don't see a ton of. I mean, they're weak at the weak positions. Uh, I mean, safety is not a overall important position as far as value. Middle linebacker isn't overall important as far as value. I think they're going to add depth there. But this team's really good. And it's really deep. They're just young. So I think I don't think he said people are going to be afraid. I think they're going to say they're not going to want to face us. So they're not going to see like they're not going to want to see us. Like it's going to be a tough out. We're going to be a tough out because we're going to come with a lot of athleticism, a lot. You're going to have to manipulate us, which we're really young, so they might be able to do. So we can the team can get out coached, but as far as like throwing talent at you over and over and over and over and over again, it's going to look a lot like those young feisty like I don't want to like go there, but like think about like the young Mahomes teams, like with like Tyreek Hill like was in his second year, and they just like young guys, young guys, young guys, and Sarkisian just kept on coming after you with these young guys. Now they're paying everybody. Now they're a vet team, but it looks a lot like those young, ferocious like teams that want to win. So I agree. I don't think people are going to want to play us. That doesn't mean that I think that they're going to be afraid of us. They're just gonna be like, God, these guys are just so athletic. It's like I don't know if you ever watched the Avengers when they go back and Captain America's like, I can do this all day. The young Captain America, and he's like, Yeah, I know. Like it's gonna be like that kind of thing. I feel like when these vet teams play the Panthers.
And honestly, last year, some of the teams that we played against, I'm sure they probably don't want to see us again, or probably
Oh
start
yeah.
with a tough game. The Chiefs and the Eagles, two
Uh,
teams come to mind. We easily could have beat both of those teams and probably the Falcons and all of that. We did not. But anyway, we talked about safety and we mentioned it so many times when we had the show. Going to probably sign Justin,
Yeah.
and instead of signing him, he signed with the Saint after Annie Badger decided to retire out of the blue. So
Mm.
I'm thinking he's seeing that he only signed for 6.5. I'm guessing he hold up for the most amount of money that he could get, and I'm also presuming the Carolina Panthers probably won't did not make him the highest offer because if they did, he would have been a Carolina Panther.
Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack here because I didn't know that number. So it's the first time I'm hearing that number. That's that's big. They got like 25 million in cap, and they usually don't roll over cap. As far as when I say usually, I mean like Tillis. Analytically, people just don't do it because you want to be as neutral as possible, so you don't get too high or too low. Cap can get out of hand, right? Um, so usually a Tillis run team, as far as Kansas City, they use the cap that they have. Like they don't create more and roll it over. They don't, they don't overspend. Usually, a Kansas City team or a Tillis in this case kind of team spends what they have, and they got a fair amount of cap now, especially with Jewel being cut. And you're not willing to pay 6 million for Blackman. I think one, they're like, yeah, we're good with like the safeties going out because now Jamal Adams got picked up. Now Blackman got picked up, and there's still, I mean, there's still uh,
Simmons, Simmons,
Simmons out there. There's still the kid from Marcus Williams, right? I think they're just like, yeah, we'll just add some vet depth. Like, but one, it tells me they ain't gonna get a prize safety. That two, they like Damari Richardson. It looks like, I guess. I and three, like they're gonna spend this money. Who are they gonna? They got to have something in mind because that's a lot of money to just have like on your side, especially for a Tillis run team. I'm excited to see what they do. It looks like they're saving for something, and I don't know what it is anymore. So I think that Blackman signing elsewhere just shows that one, they care about the culture because you don't you're obviously more worried about the money than coming to camp and start working out the team. You care more about money than winning. Is what that kind of shows you. It kind of seems like you're that kind of was going to rub probably JC Horn and work the wrong way. I think they just want somebody that wants to come in, like do their job and bounce. But I think they got a move that they're gearing up for because you don't Tillis teams don't hold that much cap just to hold it.
right? So as far as Richardson, if I remember correctly, he went to Alabama. Not that it make a big difference, but I'm pretty sure he went to Alabama, if I remember correctly. Demari
I don't know.
Richardson. But he did show some pretty good flash last year. When he played, he showed flash. Is this mean he's ready to be the starting safety next to Morik? I'm guessing. I'm guessing they believe so. I don't
I think they believe that they would probably extend him by now. I doubt they believe that. Could he? Yes, but I don't think that they have belief in that because if you believe that he's a starting safety in the NFL, you go ahead and lock him down, like lock him up before he gets too expensive, before he plays.
know, but here's
I
the
don't
deal.
I don't think
So,
they believe that. I think that they're it's a competition. So,
sorry to cut you off, but here's the deal. Since he was undrafted, they can basically play with the money in essence. They don't have. It's not like he was a first round pick where they have to give him the money now or he will hold up and all of that. So they have much more of the leverage for the next couple of years since he was undrafted. So that is the reason why. Now, you mentioned they're holding up so much money. I'm thinking extension, potentially to Iki.
yeah, but you don't pay that this year. Like he's already got his 5th year option. You already give him that. You
No,
already got him. He has no leverage. Like you don't. I don't see giving him an extension. until next year. It's 2 years early. I don't think like he's even get hurt. I don't think you extend him yet.
But what about Brady Christensen and the other guys? So they,
Could be, could be.
yeah, which I saw, I know it's day one, but I saw that Austin Colbert took the snap at center of Phil Streamel, which kind of interesting to say the least, because I'm not sure where Brady Christensen lined up at guard or at backup. Because literally at center, we are right now very deep. We have three legitimate starting center on the roster, which we never had in team history.
Yeah, and I think you have a big name. The biggest signing this offseason that surprised me more than anything else was Brady Christensen. Because like everybody was talking about, like he wants to start somewhere. Like he's not just going to come back to the Panthers and be a backup. He wants to start somewhere. He's proven that he's a good starting guard in the league because when we had it with Bulls, not Bulls, Wilkes, he played really well. And so everybody said if he came back, it would only be to start. Well, he came back, so it's weird because offensive lineman depth is not in the league is not huge. It really feels like yeah, you might be right. It might be just holding their cards close to the vest, but in saying Brady, we're going to get you in, just like work with like wait, because he wants to start and he's a good starter. And I I was shocked that he came back just to be a backup. So I think that he's the name to watch closely moving forward, and I don't think we've seen the last of moves on the offensive line as far as because I think they're going to try to get him on the line. I think they have to. I don't understand any other reason why he would come back.
Culture. He liked the culture.
I
That could
mean,
be it.
but you have to prove like he's on a 1 year deal. You got to prove yourself to get a next deal, right? You don't. So they could have gone. Somebody would have with the offensive lines in this league. He would have gone. Somebody would pick him up and started him, and then he could prove him. He can prove himself for the next contract. So he has to know something that gives him to come back to Carolina. Like, because you got to show. You got to put stuff on tape for the next big contract. You
No,
only get one, really. You usually only get one big contract in your football career.
no, you're right, and it all makes sense. But some players, I don't know it because I don't know Brady Christensen or anything like that. But some players, they really don't care about the big time money. They more care about comfortable because let's say he's not getting the big time contract. Okay, a millionaire, his family is set up, his grandparents, his grandkids, his entire community is set up, literally. So it's not like you need the big. So some players,
Maybe
yeah,
I don't necessarily agree with that because you coming back for a million. Let's say he tears his ACL and he misses the prime of his career in Carolina, right?
right,
Then you've only made your rookie contract a third round pick, so maybe he made let's say 3 million on his rookie contract, and then you make another million, and then you're not in football anymore. When you could have made 5 million somewhere else on a 2 year $10 million deal. Say you could have done that somewhere else. But he came back to Carolina. It only feels like it could be a prove it deal that where you can get paid like real money next year. This is all speculation. I don't know, but it is very interesting that he came back because he's a good player and could have got way more money in the open market.
right. Maybe they're thinking potentially replace for Moulton at Brady
I
Christian.
think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. I honestly do. I think they're worried about Moton's knees, and they're saying let's see what he does in camp. If 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 he can't go, Brady, we'll extend you and you'll make the money you should deserve. And if he doesn't, we'll trade you. I think that's the only thing I can think of that makes actual sense. We'll see. But I think that would be something if I'm Brady, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. I'll uh I'll work with you guys.
Right,
Yeah, yeah. I think they are worried about Moton's knees, and you can get $10 million back in cap.
right. But the thing
Nice.
with the thing with Moten, even though he's a vet, I believe he only missed one game throughout his career, which is very unusual for a tackle. So, relatively, knock on wood, he's been very healthy throughout his career.
Yeah,
And
but he
there,
played through injury. He played through injury all last year. I mean, from what has been reported, like he's had chronic knee problems for all of last year. So I mean,
but
if he wants to suffer that again, I don't know. But I think they are, from what's been reported, they're worried about his knees.
okay, I need to check it out. I'm not sure well, but for someone with a chronic, reliable knee, honestly, it's been very reliable. Very
Sure, yeah,
reliable.
yeah.
Very
But it goes fast, man. When these guys get old, they get old fast. Um, so I mean, we'll see. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's all speculation. But it is odd that Brady not only chose to come back, but for so little money. So we'll see. I don't know. But yeah,
right,
but they're holding money. They're holding money for something. I don't know what it is. They're holding money.
right. And you mentioned earlier the Jules century and first obviously our thought and prayers to Jody Jules. I myself, I had a concussion back in 2010 from a car accident, and mine was diagnosed as a minor concussion, but yet I had bleeding in the brain and memory problem for 6 months and all of
Ooh,
that. So, a lack, I didn't lose conscious, so I remember what happened before. I remember the accident. I remember afterwards. So thanks God, everything was all right. But
yeah,
couple of things. Number one, I must admit, before I had a concussion, my sort of concussion wasn't not serious. Just get out there. Just go out and play because you really don't understand how bad it is until until it's until it's bad, because mine actually didn't have symptoms for 48 hours after the accident. So for 48 hours after the accident, yeah, I was upset that I totaled the car. I wasn't happy, but I didn't have symptoms. So thank you, FX. So yeah. So so the thing with Jules, I'm concerned about his health, that this is a serious concussion and not
uh,
something, not a light concussion, but considering at age 30 that he want to step aside right now, it's probably it's probably a very serious concussion, potential symptoms potentially even worse than what I suffered.
yeah. No, yeah. I mean, you're talking about he didn't pass a physical, what, 6 months after the season, and not only that, but guess who's in the building every single day? Luke Kuechly, who's also a linebacker with concussion problems, and he retired early. I don't think we're seeing Josie Jewell again. The season ended 7 months ago, and you can't pass a physical for your concussion that you had. Like I don't see how he can come back um, and play, especially with Luke in the building being like, don't do it, man. Don't, like, I'm sure he is, because he seems like to be a big advocate for that, because he retired early for that. I If he comes back, I don't think that he'll come back as a Panther. The more I think about it, I thought differently like a day ago, but I don't think that he could look Luke in the face with with that. Uh, I mean, he already got his guaranteed money from the Panthers. He got his bonuses. If I'm him, I just I call it quits. That's You can't pass a physical 7 months after the season's over because of brain injury. I'm not risking that.
Right,
I don't think his family's gonna let him risk that either.
right, because like I said, I think it's probably something similar to what I had. I mean, you can look normal, can do your job and all of that, and yet you can have like memory problem, not feeling yourself, not feeling normal, and people wouldn't recognize its
Yeah.
symptom of concussion. But
But they
I
do recognize it. Like, you can't pass a physical. They recognize it. They're like, dude, you can't play. Sorry.
think they
I,
waited. I think they waited like hoping and praying that the symptoms would go away. And the same with concussion, you don't know when it will go away because, like I stated, mine was diagnosed as a minor concussion. That's what they told me. Yet I had bleeding in my brain and 6 months of memory problem, not feeling normal and not feeling like I am right now. So anyway, I like you said, I mean for his own health, for his own sake, he should walk away. He should walk away because God
Yeah.
forbid. I mean, let's say best case scenario for him, they clear him. Forget if he play for the Panthers or anyone else, Saints, you name it, Mendels, whatever. He suffer one more concussion. God forbid, it can kill him. It could kill him.
But and nobody's going to pick him up and give him a contract. They're going to pay him the minimum. So you're coming back from a minimum contract. I think the Panthers did a great thing because they could have put him on like a pup or something like that and waited it out. But they still haven't used their post June 1st roster cut, so they can spread his cap hit over 2 years. So it can give him even more cap. And I don't think they're going to cut anybody that had hit that much money against the cap. Or it doesn't look like it. So I think they did the. I mean, the more I look at it, it's a great move by the Panthers because they, for whatever reason, they didn't cut Clowney after June 1st. That was a very weird thing, but then you're getting Jewel, so it's almost like the same cap hit. So you can spread it over 2 years, so you have more cap room. He, I don't know, they got money. They got money. They can do some. They can, as scary as they are, they can do some things. It's gonna be really interesting to see what how they improve the roster. And Dan was on his he did his interview, and he was very like weird about, oh, we're not like, we're not really like looking, but we're always trying to like look at ways to improve the roster, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're trying to add anybody. But like he kept on being like, doesn't mean we're gonna add somebody. It's like, doesn't mean we're gonna add. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna add somebody. Like, so like you don't get that. Dan Morgan doesn't get that jittery about. He sucks at lying. So which is good. It's a good thing. I mean, as far as like a moral, ethical person. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think that they're planning something.
for sure. And it's totally different regime because, in a good way, because under federal, we basically, and under Maudi only, we basically had no money. Spent it like God forbid we are dying. So we need to spend all of it before we go to heaven. That is how their ideology was. We have money, let's spend it all right now. Let's not worry about next year or the year afterward. We won't be here. So who cares? And you can
Yeah,
see with Brett Tillis and Ted Morgan, they're not thinking so much about today, but are thinking about next year and so on in 2027,
yeah, yeah,
which is great.
yeah. They did the thing. They did the things that they should have done because Herney and uh,
Federer,
um,
Federer.
Bitterer killed the Caps. We just literally just ate 60 million 2 years ago and 70 million in dead cap and just ate it for the last 2 years just to get back to zero. And now we're back to zero, and we're zero next year. And zero. I mean, we're not zero, but we're close. Close enough. Um, that yeah, they balanced the budget, and now it's looking good.
Right, which I mean, hypothetically, let's say they don't make a ton of moves with the money that they have. Let's say they only spend maybe 10 million. We said they already have 29 million right now. Can
Mm.
you can you imagine even if they have to extend Iki, even if they have to extend Bryce, hopefully they will have to extend Bryce. My gosh, we could be looking at over 120 million, and that isn't the conservative end because typically the cap go up and go up. So we could
Correct.
easily, but here's the deal. I I could be mistaken, but I do believe even if let's say we have 130 million, hypothetically, with our resolve and smart they all seem like Tillis and Morgan now. I don't think they will be spending the vast majority of it. They still might spend 50, 60, 70 mil and keep the rest to the following year, which is great. You don't want to spend everything at once if you don't need to.
That's the Tillis and the Chiefs. They spend the way they have, and it keeps you neutral. I mean, theoretically, he could do what they don't normally do, but just because there's nothing to get, or they don't think the team's that like good enough yet. Like they think this is like a one more building year, and so they do that. Do. But I for the most part, they usually spend that money and don't roll over anything, but they also don't push the cap down the road. So it'll be interesting because it's Tillis' his own man now. He's not beholden to the Chiefs.
Right, which we mentioned Jules for his else, obviously, but I really believe it's a big loss talent wise. Forget about
Oh, 1 billion%. Yeah,
like
no, 1 billion%.
I had people on social media telling me, listen, the defense is not worse off without Jules. And I was like, yeah, we had
No,
historical worst defense in the entire NFL, but Josie Jules played pretty well last season. He really did.
yeah, analytically, he was 10 point. They were 10 points better as a defense with him on the field than off the field. And like analytically, he was phenomenal last year. Probably he couldn't stay on the field. So yeah, that's a big hit. He was my like sleeper. Like he people aren't talking enough about him coming into next year. I was very disappointed in that loss. They have to add to that room. They just have to. It's way too thin.
So the question is, we said for 6 months he could not pass the physical. Free agency took place. Why did they not try to sign a linebacker or draft a linebacker, knowing in the back that it could be a possibility that he might not be all right? And I'm not happy with Morgan and Tillis for knowing potentially. And we talked about their saving money and all of that, thinking ahead, but apparently they did not think ahead regarding linebacker.
They probably didn't know. I mean, it's you talking about a concussion. Like you would know if the guy had like a bad calf or like an injury he had surgery on. But you're talking about a guy that probably seemed fine, and then he got into the physical and he just couldn't pass. And I bet they were shocked. 'Cause you can't. They don't talk to each other all off season. So I mean, he probably looked like healthy. He just could like. Uh, I guess I have to go real fast. I'll be right back.
Sure. So he's going to come back, but we're saying, guys, we're saying this is shocking that Josie Jules Pantos did not know about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
Oh, dude, yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
text you like, 5 minutes ago.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah, I got some call right now. I was waiting for the okay. Sorry, it's like getting so close.
Vegas will stay in Vegas. Let's put it that way. FX and everyone else. FX and everyone else. What happened in Las Vegas will stay in Las Vegas. But anyway, back to the Josie Jules situation. I mean, was saying, and I will say it when Alex Bryant is coming back, finishing his business. But what I was saying, guys, basically, the issue is Josie Jules was the Panthers had an article actually 2, 3 weeks ago back in OTA showing him practice and looking great and all of that. So my question is, how can you practice an OTA and a month and a half later, you're still dealing with concussion. Now, I understand that you don't have to go through physical through OTA. I completely understand you don't have to go to physical exam through OTA, off-season workout, but it still doesn't make sense. How come Josie Jules Josie Jules will be able was able to walk to practice OTA at OTA, he was able to practice, but then when it comes to training camp, he's still dealing with concussions. That concussion symptoms, and of course, like I said, concussion is very serious, very very serious. Myself, I had concussion years ago, so it's a very very serious situation. Concussion, nothing to laugh at, but it still doesn't make sense that an OTA he he was able to practice. Welcome back. So
Yeah,
I
sorry.
told
Yeah, I'm at the
yeah,
bar, so I
yeah,
people knock on the door all the
no,
time.
no, I told everyone what happened in Vegas will stay in Vegas.
No, no, we're about to open the bar in probably like a week or so. So people are all coming in, knocking on the door, want to talk. So
So congrats. So I was saying, while you were gone, the Panthers had showing Josie Jules was practicing in OTA. So I understand, and I'm assuming you don't have
that's a
to
good
go
point.
physical or anything like that in OTA, but still doesn't.
You
I
should. I don't know why you wouldn't.
so
Is it for insurance purposes only? I mean, it's nothing else. Insurance purposes. They don't want to throw someone on the field that I mean might
right.
get
So
hurt. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point, actually. I don't know.
yeah,
He
because
was out. He was out. Yes, for sure.
yeah, if you want to put the phone real quick, you can check the article from Pan.
Yeah, yeah.
They
I believe
showed.
you.
So I will wait for a bit. You can check out and let me know what you find out, because I'm pretty sure they wrote an article and and stated he's feeling great. He's feeling great and all
Yeah,
of. So it
yeah,
I,
yeah. Concussions. I mean, yeah, those symptoms can come back. Like, yeah,
exactly
yeah,
that is
yeah,
what I'm thinking. That is what I'm thinking, my friend. It probably at time the symptoms probably vanish and
yeah, yeah,
hold up again.
yeah.
I'm not saying he suffered another concussion, God forbid, but it probably a
Fine.
situation where you feel normal, and then the following day or couple of days later you feeling you're feeling bad, and hopefully his situation won't be like, I don't know if you remember Jeff Otter, the guy who used to play for the Panthers years ago. Years ago,
Mm,
used to play for the Panthers as a tackle, and he had to
yeah.
retire earlier because of concussion. He had he had so many. Not Jeff Otter, Michael O. I'm sorry, Michael O.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Bitcoin guy,
Yeah, who was a
onside guy.
right adopted and all of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he basically had to retire early
Mm-hmm.
because of concussions.
I mean, it's probably fine. He got his salary in Bitcoin when it was like $25,000, so he's probably doing pretty good.
Right, but I know that he had to go to like concussion clinic specialists in Pittsburgh and
Right,
all of
right,
that.
right.
So hopefully with Josie, Jules, it won't be a situation like that. But if he need to retire, it's going to be all right. But I am final point about concussion. Like Luke Kuechly, throughout his final stage of his career, he did wear a back neck, which I believe he stated help him like keeping concussions away, because early on in his career he had concussion after concussion. Later on, like right before he retired, he did not have a concussion, and and he wore something on the back of his neck that stated supposedly help him. So I am surprised players are not trying it out. And going to say this, smallest training camp, beside the fans not being allowed and all of that, which of course, from fan perspective, I think it's the wrong move. So many
Mm-hmm.
reasons. But here's the other thing. With the team practicing in Charlotte, with the teams not with the players not going to hotel, not going out of town, Spartanburg or Clemson, you name it. I feel like, in a way, it can backfire and keep the teams, the players, away from being close to one another and building a great work relationship. Sure, Bryce and his teammates, some of his teammates did go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, and threw the ball a couple of weeks ago, which was fantastic. But the rest of the teammate, there is benefit, I believe, practicing away from your city, going to dorms, getting to know one another, and all of that. And you don't have that opportunity when you're practicing at your own stadium for training camp and you get to go home every night after practice. It doesn't feel the same. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me, it doesn't feel the same.
I mean, I think it's a dated concept. I think that everybody outside of Carolina doesn't do it. I mean, we're the pretty much one of the only teams that does do it. These guys have families. They want to be around their family. I mean, they're gonna be away from their family so much going into the season. I mean, I don't. I think I think there's arguments on both sides. I'm not in Charlotte, so I don't know the dynamic there really. But they don't go anywhere. If the New York teams don't go anywhere, I mean they're in the area. Um, so I agree and I don't agree. I think that's more of like a younger team kind of thing. But I mean, Adam Thielen is 34 years old. You think he wants to go be? I mean, his kids are like they have baseball games and stuff like that. He wants to enjoy that kind of stuff before he has to be away from them for an entire season. So I I don't know. There's arguments on both sides. It's not like I don't think there's a big deal either way. There's pros and cons to both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I believe the Eagles are holding their training camp in Philadelphia, and so the Ravens in their stadium, but they're
Yeah.
better. So I don't know. I mean, I wish the Panthers would have had something where, like I stated, maybe go to Clemson or somewhere where you can build companionship, which we will see how it impact, because last year most of the practice were all in Charlotte except FanFest, which was in Clemson and all of that. So I guess the next step going forward, what do they do at linebacker? Because free agency is extremely weak. Extremely weak.
There's gonna be a lot of guys that kick. Like, linebackers are one of the deepest positions in the NFL. There's gonna be a lot of cuts. There's gonna be a lot of trades that happen. It, Washington rebuilt their whole linebacker core for like $6 million last year. It, as long as you got two, which I thought the two were gonna be Wallace and Jewel. Uh, Maybe they like Roseman enough. I mean, he's trying to prove himself. I'm going to trust Dan Morgan with linebackers. Like every place he's been, he's had extraordinary. Like Seattle, his entire time there, they had extraordinary linebackers. When he went to Buffalo, they built an insanely strong linebacker core. And then he came to Carolina, and they had Shaq and Luke leaving kind of killed them, honestly, because they never had to worry about it, but then they had to eat Luke's dead cat for a while, and then Shaq got hurt multiple years in a row. So I'm gonna give him the grace on this kind of stuff on linebacker, just like I give Evero grace on secondary. Like Evero has never drafted a secondary player like after in the first 3 rounds. and he always finds them. He always finds a random guy. Like he finds like Richardson and Mike Jackson and Troy Hill. Like he just finds these guys. So the two positions that are probably weakest at is probably the biggest strengths as far as our GM and our defensive coordinator.
Do you think the final point for the night that they might go back to Clowney, or it's over
No,
the ship
no,
itself?
no. Yeah, no. They don't want it to be his. I think the problem with and this, I told you this about Ramsey, right? They don't want to bring Ramsey in because they don't want these veterans that are I don't want to say divas, but like they've been the best player on their team for so long, and they've been the leaders of their team for so long, but they're no longer the most talented players on the team. I think they want their young guys to take the leadership roles in their specific areas. So I think that Clowney just muddies that, just like I think Shaq muddied that. Just like I think uh, Xavier Woods muddied that. It's just on and on and on and on. I think Miles Sanders muddied that. So just moving on from same with Deontay John. I think they're just making a youth movement, and I don't think they're gonna. I don't think anybody over the age of 30 is gonna come. Uh, Here, including Stephon Gilmore, including like these guys that people keep wanting to bring in. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that they're going to bring in um, older guys because they want these young guys to have this year of leadership. So I think that they think that next year's their year. I put something on Twitter about this. Uh, the Detroit, when they rebuilt their team, right? They came off a 3-win season, and then they went um, edge, wide receiver, edge, right?
Yeah.
And we went wide receiver, edge, edge, and they went 9-8 that year. And then the next year they went 12-5, where they got their little cherries on top, where they got their linebacker, they got their secondary guy, they got their tight end, and they got their running back. So I think that's probably what kind of the same trajectory that we're on. And I think that this is probably the year. Hey, get your feet wet, being the leaders of this area. We've extended all you guys. Everybody's extended, except for Bryce, obviously. But for the most part, everybody's extended, and let's just add these little things, and we'll come back bigger the following.
Yeah, I guess have to find out, and I'm presuming next week they should be in. So that would be something to look forward to next week.
I bet it was a shit show today. I mean, I really do. I think you having all these young. I mean, not only they brought they you draft what they brought 7 or 8 guys, and then they give guaranteed contracts to like 5 guys. There's so many young dudes in here. I bet it was, and you have these captains of these areas that aren't used to being captains. I bet it was a shit show, honestly. I bet it was like, guys, yeah, you guys gotta learn to be NFL people. Like Princely, you're hitting the quarterback. Don't you learned that like when you're 10 years old? You don't touch the quarterback. Um, and I think they're
Which
just probably overzealous and
which
mentally
was
unaware.
which
So
was good
I
and
think it's
bad.
gonna be yeah. I think it's gonna be a work in progress.
Right. So think we've covered enough for first day of training camp. We'll be
Ex-
back next week.
Except one thing that I will say, apparently Xavier Leggett looked really, really good. So something to keep your eye on.
Yep. Leggett, and we'll be
And
back.
Ted.
Yeah. So we'll be
And
back.
JC Sanders. Oh, sorry.
And Bryce. Everyone looked
Yeah,
great.
I don't think Bryce looked really that good. He threw a couple picks. I mean, he threw a pick, pass, cut it
But
down, like a couple sacks.
it's
But I mean,
just
it's
I'm
first
not
day.
going to as a
But
coach, as a
apparently,
football coach, I'm not going to back
yeah,
my quarterback.
yeah. But I'm not saying you look bad. I'm saying that you can't really say you look great. But apparently, JC Sanders, XL, and Ted all look fantastic. So that's something you really get excited about.
Right. So for Alex Bryant, Coach Shaquette Bar-Tal, where I will be coaching next week, you have to tune into my channel. We'll see you guys next Wednesday, 8 o'clock, and more video gaming on my channel in between. See you guys. Have a great night.